Hey guys, welcome to my monthly TBR of May. These are all the books I'm going to be reading. No, I'm lying to you. But now that I've got your attention, this is Fizzy at the Procrastinator Files, and we're actually going to talk about something important today, which is going to be neurodivergence on BookTube, and this is my outfit today. I am feeling fabulous and I feel like my hair looks fly, but it's like 1:30 in the morning and I'm so tired, but a girl's looking a bit too cute to, pass up on filming a video for y'all. So today I've got my notepad, which I never ever have, and I filmed this video twice, but for technical reasons I wasn't able to upload it, but I wasn't looking cute then anyway, so we're filming it now and this one will definitely be coming up. And I'm gonna look up to the light because that's where the light hits me best. But yeah, we're gonna talk about neurodivergence on BookTube and in the bookish community, in the bookish world, and how it affects me and what I think about certain opinions and how I feel about certain situations and whatnot. So I'm going to be getting pretty real in this conversation. I'm going to be talking about some slightly taboo topics and slightly unpopular opinions on how I feel, since I am part of many diverse minority groups, but this is the one I connect to the most. So it's interesting to be in quite a few of them and see how they all interact and treat one another. So I'm going to get into the actual video now and try and keep it as short as possible as well. But basically, what neurodivergence is, more or less, is the word neuro, which typically relates to the brain and, neurons and whatnot, like neurosurgeon and all of that. And then divergent typically means that you are diverging from what is, let's say this is the typical flow, then you would have this kind of flow or this kind of flow. Is basically you're not normal, so that means that your brain doesn't really function on a normal scale, and you're it's different from mental health, because mental health focuses on both when your brain functions typically, which is opposite of neurodivergent, neurotypical, that's the everyday folk. But mental health focuses on if you're feeling good or bad, if you're depressed or if you're fine, okay, if you're happy all the time, whatnot. If you do have anxiety, neurodivergence focus on if you have things like autism and ADHD and Tourette's and dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia and whatnot, or clinical chronic depression, basically whatever changes your brainwaves and the way that you think completely. So yeah, I am a neurodivergent booktuber, and funny enough, when you say that to people, no one actually knows what that even means. So I'm here to talk to you guys about it today. So I have dyslexia, and some of the symptoms that I have that relates to reading are the fact that I get tired when I read, seriously tired. When I was younger, I literally used to pass out whenever I had to read. My mum would make me, force me to read, and I'd literally fall asleep after reading 2 sentences of a book on the sofa. And she would be like, "Oh, you're being so lazy, you're sleeping to get out of reading." I'm like, "No, fam, I'm just actually passing out right now." And I also get blurry vision when I read. I have slow internal reading, so I can talk very fast and I read very fast when I'm reading for people. But when I read in my head, I read very slow and it's very static, or it's very bam, bam, bam. There's no flow, it's very stiff, like my dance moves. But yeah, I often mispronounce, or I literally pronounce words. So I used to think knife was knife and phone was phone, and so many other words that I think are quite literal when they're not. Arkansas, no matter how many times someone tells me it's Arkansas, it's Arkansas in my mind. And Phoebe was P-O-B. Poby. It was like Poby. Like the first time I ever heard that name, I was playing like the Bratz game on my PlayStation 2, and I was like, Poby is such an ugly name. But I also avoid reading, which is an actual trait. Like it's not a decision; it's an actual trait to avoid it. I read things in the wrong order, so A, B, and C. I read C, A, and B. Cab. That's what's cab. But yeah, that happens to me a lot. I'll often lose my place while I'm reading. So I'll be reading line A, B, C, Z, Y, K, L, M, O, T, U, V back to A, B, C. But that happens to me a lot. I'm very slow at writing. I used to literally try and race my classmates as they would write, but they didn't know they was racing me. I'd just be racing them in my head, and I'd always be like a page behind. And I never understood why. Like I thought I was doing my absolute best, and it was just like not working out for me. I often can't recognize common words. Sometimes I'll like mistake words like and to or they, them. Like the basic words. Sometimes I really just don't know what the hell it says. I have slow processing, so like you can say something to me or I'll read something and I really just process it like a minute later, or someone may say something to me and I go, what? And then as they repeat themselves, I suddenly hear what they say, and then I'm just like, oh. Or basically like when I'm watching TV shows, I actually don't know what they're saying, so I have to read the subtitles because like when they're talking, my mind isn't catching up and they've already changed subject and the scene is changing and I'm still trying to process what they said 30 seconds ago. So another thing is I can't copy words from text or speech. So if you dictate something to me, I literally can't copy. And I always had a hard time copying from a whiteboard when I was learning, and my teachers would be like, Dante, the words are right in front of you. How can you misspell it and not know what you're writing? And I'm just like, bro, I don't know what's wrong with me. Another thing is I have left to right difficulties, so that's a different type of dyslexia, but I'm not going to go into all the different types of dyslexia. But basically, like, I don't know my left and right, and I still don't really know. Like, I know this is my left side, this is my right side, but people would always be like, just hold up two L's and which one actually looks like an L is, left, but this looks like an L to me and this looks like an L to me, because I flip words around as well, so I'm just like, that means nothing to me. So it wasn't until I turned maybe about 16 that I fluently was able to like tell my left and right, but I'm not very comfortable doing it, which is why my driving lessons are very hard for me. Because when you indicate, you typically have to push the indicator up or down, and that correlates to left and right, and that broke the system for me. Also, bad handwriting, bro. Can you see this? Okay, you saw that. Also, I can articulate in speech, but I can't articulate in writing. So I was always the top of my class when it came to my speech tests, or when it came to contributing to class. Like I always got 10 on all of my oral exams, especially in my oral comprehension and listening, any kind of music theory that involved my ears and listening and speaking, vocalizing, sorting out patterns. But when it came to writing, I would always fail my exams. Like I once got a G, A, B, C, D, E. I skipped F and got a G in my English literature course, but I'm like one of the best readers in my school, and I'm also one of the best writers in my school. So I don't know how my teachers didn't flag something up from then. I think they just thought I was lazy, but we're going to get to lazy in a second. So yeah, those are my main symptoms of dyslexia and how they affect my reading. So we're going to get to ADHD now. So I also have ADHD, which stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder. That basically means that I have, some people say that I have a lack of dopamine receptors in my brain. So my body is constantly craving a thrill and excitement, and that often leads me to either be very hyperactive or be very distant, as my brain is trying to find like stimulation elsewhere than the main task. So I don't really like to call it attention deficit, because I can focus at a brick wall for 6 hours. I can sit in my towel, like not even dressed, for 4 hours and just stare outside of a window and be so focused. So I don't think my attention deficit is just directed, like misdirected. So like attention misdirected hyperactive disorder makes more sense to me. But basically my main thing is procrastination. So that's how I got the name The Procrastinator Files. And that basically relates to the fact that I literally cannot stick to anything for shit. Like, I have so many projects, and I'm telling you, I would be rich and famous and successful and definitely happy if I didn't procrastinate as much. I can't get anything done because the moment I set my mind to it, I'm literally like, oh yeah, that thing that I was going to do 6 months ago and I literally have no interest in doing, let me do it now. Like, I won't clean my room for 6 months and then suddenly be caught doing it at 4 in the morning, or like, I'm always just, I have a priority and then suddenly something else needs priority over that, and I'll just do it. Like, I have no control over what I choose to do. I just do whatever my brain tells me to do. So I often lose a place in the book, so that's comorbid with my dyslexia. So because I'm also not paying attention, I always skip to like the bottom of the page sometimes to see what is exciting happening down there, or what piece of dialogue is happening, because description or world building is boring me. I often get distracted. Okay, no, I lost my place. That's not even where I was at right now. Basically, I have a lack of organization and attention. So basically, nothing in my life is organized. My room is not organized. My plan is not organized. My schedule for work is not organized. My wardrobe is not organized. My shoes are not organized. My business isn't organized. My books aren't organized. My life isn't organized. Yeah, nothing in my life is I have no schedule for anything. I have no ritual for anything. I have no set way of doing anything. I'm so disorganized. Yeah, I often get distracted a lot. So literally I'll be on one topic, skip to another, skip back to the third, get onto 7 different anecdotes, and then talk about my one cousin, talk about some random thing that was triggered, talk about something in distance, and then get to the end of the point after about 15 minutes. So that happens to me a lot. I also can't be too still. Like, I can actually sit still, but there's always some part of my body that's moving, or my brain that's moving. Sometimes I really can't be still, so I'm literally that ADHD kid that's literally like bouncing their leg, or like clicking pens, chattering my teeth, like flicking my tongue, or doing something stupid. Like, I didn't know it was a thing until I realized I had ADHD. Another thing is, yeah, a lack of comprehension. So once again, I actually don't understand what people are saying to me a lot of the time, so I don't hear them, or I think they're talking too low, or I can't hear what someone's singing, such as this is so crazy, but if you're from the UK, you know about UEFA, of like the the football thing, and it has the chant like the champions, ba 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 bum, but I thought it was like UEFA, ba 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 bum, and I literally never know the lyrics to songs. Like, I will be singing a song for years until I actually realize what the actual lyric is. Like, for the longest time, I thought Pussycat Dolls Buttons was about burgers. I was like, 'cause you're pushing on my burgers, but like, when I was 3, I thought that song was about Burger King. But yeah, my life is a mess. I'm often forgetful, so literally I'll forget what I'm doing. Like, my mum used to send me upstairs multiple times of the day, be like, Dante, go like bring the washing upstairs, or go get me like toilet paper or something, and I'll come downstairs 3 or 4 times. What was that? I forgot. My mum would think I was taking the piss by the end of it, but literally 5, 6 times I'll be asking my mum, what? I always lost my lunch boxes, I lost my keys, I lost my phone. Like, my mum actually thought I was just giving a lot of these things away to my friends at school. I legitimately was losing everything. I forget dates, I forget I have to go to work, which gets me fired. I forget birthdays, I forget to meet people, I forget what time I have to leave, I forget what time my train's coming, I forget everything. I also get bored easily, so I never stick to things. I have commitment issues, but not to people, to life. I literally forget to breathe sometimes. Like, I'd feel like like, literally, it is not a joke. It's so fucked being mentally like unstable. But I have sensory disorders, so I get too hot, I get too cold, I can't touch certain textures. Like, people be like, oh my god, certain textures creep me out. Like, no, it's not the same. Think about, if you understand, have like any perception of what is that for an autistic person with a sensory disorder is pretty similar for ADHD. Like ADHD and autism, or ADHD and especially Asperger's, but Asperger's no longer exists. So ADHD and autism spectrum disorder are actually very similar. That is actually scary. So yeah, like certain, let's say, scratchy textures, but like smooth scratchy textures, so such as let's say a type of metal that isn't polished but is dull and it's got that scratch. Oh my god, but just thinking about it is making my spine want to crack in half. But I will touch it and I will remember that feeling for days. It will haunt me for days. I'll feel it going through all of the bones of my body, all parts of my body, and I will literally be shuddering for minutes, like tens and tens and dozens of minutes. And it'll freak me out. Like paper cuts affect me even after they healed. Like I can still remember where I get most of my cuts and paper cuts because they still irritate me even after they've healed. Certain smells and tastes really affect me, and yeah, like certain books I can't pick up due to the texture of their covers or whatnot. That's another thing, and like that's also another. Okay, we'll get into that later. I need repetition. So yeah, I literally need things to be repeated to me several times before I have like any comprehension of what the hell you're even talking about. And I also need routine in my life, because if things aren't the same way, then I freak out because I need to be the one bouncing around. I can't have, because at least I know what to expect, but if I'm bouncing around and then other things are out of order, I can't then function because legit I have no organizational skills. So I actually work better in a crisis, but at the same time things are still done sloppily. So well, I lack a lot of independence in my life simply for the fact that I just can't function properly. Like my mom is my best friend simply for the fact that if she was to die tomorrow, my life would be over. I can't even explain it, but we're not going to go into that. Another thing is called rejection sensitive dysphoria, which is actually another part of neurodivergence, but it is so comorbid with like ADHD. I believe the figure is it's about 80% of people with ADHD have rejection sensitive dysphoria, but don't actually know it's a thing. So what that is like, well, if you've heard of gender dysphoria or whatnot, you know that literally you understand that your brain perceives something that is normal and warps it in a way that is quite damaging for you. So what that means is I could be talking to you and you might even seem slightly disinterested, like you might look away or you might yawn, and it not even be me but just you in general, and my brain will start to think you hate me, you want me gone, I am a disgrace to the human race, so it's disgusting. And I don't even mean like on an anxiety kind of level, I mean on the depths of my soul kind of level, that I'm actually ready to commit suicide simply for the fact that you warned while I was talking about my passion. Or if you're mean to me, it will ruin my life. I'll carry that forever. It's like the grudge that doesn't allow you to be angry, but also allows you to feel despair, and it leads to most people with ADHD either having exponential anger issues, or it leads to them being the worst kind of people pleasers. So yeah, I've got rejection sensitive dysphoria, so be nice to me because I'm emotional. No, I'm joking. This is the internet. I wouldn't come on the internet not expecting to be abused. So how does this affect my reading? Well, it affects my reading quite badly, simply for the fact that... Oh no, I answered the questions already. So the next question is, how does it affect being bookish? So formats. Basically, due to the fact that I have dyslexia, I find it a lot easier to get through an audiobook. It makes it a lot easier for me. I like to annotate, but because my handwriting is so bad, I literally feel like I'm defacing and damaging a book whenever I write in it because my handwriting is so disgusting. I also feel like because I make a lot of mistakes and get to the wrong line, I'll start annotating the wrong line and ruin it, and I'll be permanent in my book. So along with that, oh yeah, and also because of the because of the sensory disorders, certain pages with their scratchy texture I can't hold, and paperbacks as well. Because I get a lot of anxiety from reading, my hands start to sweat almost instantly when I pick up a book. So having hardbacks doesn't work for me. I mean, having paperbacks doesn't work for me simply for the fact that they start to morph and turn yellow when I'm reading them, and they get water damage from how much I sweat from anxiety. Like I'll literally start bleeding sweat like on my top lip, on my nose, my hands, my underarms. Like I'm breaking down when I start reading. I'm that afraid of it. So I prefer audiobooks, but because I have ADHD, some of the times I'll literally just be wandering off into a whole other universe whilst I'm listening to the audiobook. And the audiobook is finished while I was listening to it, but I literally haven't remembered what happened since chapter 3. So reading is literally my worst nightmare at all times. No format works for me, but honestly, I prefer audiobooks. So when people be like, oh my god, audiobooks is not real reading, you're so lazy, I have to say to you, shut the fuck up. Comprehension, yeah, I already spoke about this, but legitimately I cannot comprehend what most of the book is. So I'll be reading page 1 for 10 minutes because I have to read it and then reread it and then reread it and reread it, because even though the words are going in, by the time I have to process the second word, kind of that takes a lot of energy out of me. I already forgot what the first word is, so I have a issue linking the bonds between the two. Mutual channel support is actually hard for me. So I actually feel bad because I have a lot of friends who have booktube channels, because obviously I'm in the community and they often want me to support their channels, but sometimes I legitimately cannot force myself to watch your content, and it's not even me just being selfish or expecting you to watch mine so I have to watch yours. It's a thing of, I would love to support you and be interested in everything you're doing, but my mind cannot even focus on the most exciting thing in my life for more than 5 minutes. So sometimes focusing on your videos is too much for me to comprehend at the time, and I need to break it up into several times, sometimes over several weeks. Like, it's happened to me before. I've actually had to watch a 10-minute video over the course of 3 weeks because I really just couldn't concentrate, and I felt really bad because my friends were so excited by it and it was a good video. And a lot of my friends' videos I miss because, well, I miss people I've been subscribed to for years, so missing my friends' videos is just something I do, especially because I work all the time and I just forget. I literally forget YouTube exists sometimes, so that's why I don't upload all the time as well. Sensitivities, because I literally blow whatever comes out to mind. I also have a hard time being sensitive to some people's matters. I just don't understand where the issues are coming from, and it doesn't make any sense to me, and I would prefer people would explain things to me. I also prefer people would say if I offended them than keeping it to themselves and hate me forever, because I legitimately don't know that I've offended you. So it's nothing, it's not your fault, it's nothing to do with you, and I didn't mean to offend you. Speeds, well, I legit my Goodreads goal was 50 books this month. I've read like 12. No, 50 books this year and I've read 12. Like, to be honest, I've read less than 100 books in my whole life, so that includes early reading books. So if that's letting you know how bad it is, then you know how bad it is. But I don't know, like, when people like say like, oh my god, yeah, like I'm doing 7 books in a day, and be like, oh yeah, like I read 50 books this month, and I'm just like, well, can we just celebrate people who managed to read 1 book this month or half a book this month? Like, we don't need to put people down, because I feel like we often, so I've even seen certain bigger booktubers say like, oh, people are coming for them for not reading 8 books or 20 books in a month anymore, and they're only reading about 4. Like, 4 books is a lot of content to get through in a month. Like, just deep how big people's lives are, and then they have to absorb someone else's whole universe into their mind and comprehend it and film a video about it, and like, it's a lot, you know, it's a lot. But readathons, I hate readathons. I feel like they don't accommodate neurodivergent people in the slightest. It honestly pisses me off how like ableist most readathons are, because a lot of them have a goal where you're supposed to either read a certain amount of books, which is almost impossible for certain dyslexic people, and if you don't have money for audiobooks, then you're screwed. Or if you don't have money for your preferred what's that thing called, if you don't have money for your preferred format, then you're also screwed. And people sometimes just say, oh well, if you have an issue with it, just don't take part in it. But why should we be excluded from a whole part of our community just because you decide that you don't want to accommodate us? Like, that just doesn't make sense, does it? No, it does not. So, annotating, I already spoke about it, but I literally hate annotating. It literally kills me, but I love it at the same time. Annotating is so aesthetically pleasing, especially when people do the doodles and whatnot, but I'm not talented like that. So I love annotations, but it just doesn't work out for me at all. Reviews. So to review something, obviously you need to remember something, you need to take notes. Taking notes is my worst nightmare. Remembering things is not my strong point. You need to be sensitive to certain people, and I'm just not that person. Like, reviews are not my thing, but at the same time I'm a professional journalist and a writer and reviewer, so I don't know how I got into this profession, because I clearly am a masochist, because I don't know how I ended up in such a literature-based career path, and literature is literally my weak point. Difficulty staying interested in bookish trends. Okay, yeah, so I literally don't care what booktube is doing at the moment. I would never care, couldn't care in the slightest. Like, I'll be interested in a series or a trend or a video or a booktuber for less than a fraction of the time that the rest of booktube will be, and then they're still talking about it, and I'm just like, please shut the fuck up, it's so annoying at this point. That's literally because my mind has already bounced 1,000 light years away onto another trend, and I'm just waiting for you guys to get there too and realize how awesome it is. So what else is there? Sorry, so you just saw the distractibility, didn't you? Unpopular opinions. Okay, so I have a lot of unpopular opinions, as do most people with ADHD, but that's because our minds are working a bit too fast to comprehend like a lot of emotional factors, and we run solely on either our emotional factors, not macro, but our micro emotional factors, or we think about intellectual things, and we often think, wait a minute, this isn't logical, like, you people are being stupid. So such as you see when a lot, like, some people with autism will make a statement and they don't understand the empathetic part of it, or how you're supposed to use social cues to talk to people, or gauge people's emotions or the situation, read the room. We also lack that ability sometimes, but not because we can't read the room, but we often are working either too fast or forget to read the room, so we just say things such as, I am a rabid and blatant Tamlin stan, and booktube just doesn't agree with me, but yeah, I think you're wrong. I think Resand is bland. I think T for another video. So next question: representation in books. So who do I thought was representing me in books? Jasper is literally the only person. Oh, I guess Wyland too. Jasper simply because he has ADHD. But you see Jasper, he's interesting because think about it. He's bubbly, overly emotional, loves too hard. He talks too much. He talks too much and gets all of his friends in danger and jeopardizes the whole mission. He is often distracted. He gambles because he needs that rush. He is a sharpshooter. He has a skill that he's invested in. So he's very active. He doesn't know how to expend all of his energy. He is just an ongoing like wash machine, constantly tumbling around, going blah 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 blah. So it's pretty much canon that Jasper has ADHD, but I don't think neurodivergence exists in the Grishaverse. So I don't think it's ever going to be confirmed, but everyone pretty much knows that at this point. And then we have Wyland, who is dyslexic. So I really appreciate the fact that he was disowned. Well, I don't think it was a good thing, but I appreciate the fact that he was disowned by his father for being dyslexic, and the fact that his father didn't see the value in him being dyslexic, because even though he couldn't read letters, he could talk to numbers and was literally a freaking demolition genius. So those two stories are connected to the most, such as your friends hating you for the ADHD and your family neglecting you for your being non-compatible with letters. So yeah, that's literally the only representation of ADHD I've ever found in a book. And dyslexia representation, but I've never read Percy Jackson, so but I won't go too deep into it, but I have to say I'm going to talk more about the difference between mental health and neurodivergence. So, rep in the community. Neurodivergence is unknown in a lot of countries. It's something that is never actually spoken about, and that makes me quite sad because I think, like, I say it to people and they're like, what's that? Like, no offense, but what is that? I've heard it around and I'm thinking, why don't you know it? It's something that affects so many thousands and millions of people in the world and you don't even know it's a thing or what it's called. People don't know what ADHD is. They just about know what autism is, but they only know the stereotypes. People hear ADHD and they think, oh, wait, but you don't seem like you have it. You don't throw chairs around the room or you don't scream scribble whenever you see one. Or they think, oh, you're autistic. Does that mean that, like, you're super smart, like you're a genius and know the secrets to life? Like, no, 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 no. Cut the stereotypes. Like, it makes me quite sad as well because I think obviously these things are important, but when a lot of people talk about, oh yeah, there's people starving in this random third world country, like, bruv, there's people starving in London, first of all. Like, there's people starving in America. Let's ditch that rhetoric of some random third world country. But on top of that, we often think to provide clothes and food and water, and these are necessities, but so is mental health. And I'm thinking, so these people who are so much less fortunate, do they receive care if they are autistic or do have ADHD or OCD or if they have Tourette's or whatnot? Like, I know a lot of people are still discriminated and murdered and abused simply for the fact that they are neurodivergent. Is that something that's talked about? No, it's really not. People in first world countries with care from the government and their parents are abused. Have you heard of Autism Speaks? Like, they advocate, electric shock therapy for autistic people to cure them. Autism cannot be cured with a diet or a pill or medication. Like, now can ADHD can be regulated with medication and meditation and whatnot, but it can't be cured. It's always a part of you and it will never leave. So, you know, it's often misunderstood and it's this is a strong point I have, is often overshadowed by anxiety. So I feel the community has mental health and talks about anxiety. Like, I don't know if you know about a YouTuber, but anxiety is literally something you can put on the top and people are like, oh my God, that's so relatable. Like, people will feel anxious and say they have anxiety. There's 3 different levels to that. You can be anxious. That's like you feeling depressed. That doesn't mean you have depression. So then you have actual anxiety. So that's a disorder that you may have, a mental illness break. That is something that can actually be cured though. But then you have the type of anxiety, like acute anxiety or just something that will put you in the hospital. Okay, that is a neurodivergent kind of anxiety, and that's the deepest level that I feel a lot of people don't see. And I see a lot of people with that level of anxiety get mad because people who feel anxious, or like, it's just easy to say, oh, I have anxiety now. Like, you can just, oh, I have anxiety. I have anxiety. And a lot of people use that as an excuse for shitty things that they do. Like, I've met people firsthand who literally do shitty things to other people, and then when you call them out, they'll be like, oh, but I have anxiety, so I can't do this and I can't do that. And a lot of times it's anxiety, depression that lead the way for mental health in the neurodivergent talk, and other things don't ever really get talked about. OCD is a fun trait to have. Like, you like to have your pens and books organized in a certain way. Oh, I'm so OCD. Or like someone who constantly that moves and jerks around, so they have Tourette's or whatnot. But like, I don't understand why people don't understand there's way more. Like, first of all, mental health and neurodivergence are the same thing, and then second of all, it's just like, another thing is that mental health covers neurodivergence. They are not the same thing. As I've explained before, neurodivergence happens when you are born that way or something happens to you, such as deep trauma, because the only way a human brain can truly change is through deep trauma, whether that be emotional, psychological, or physical trauma, such as injury to the brain or whatnot, that physically changes your brain chemistry forever, or for a very long extended period of time, or most of the time forever, from born to die, you know? So I don't understand why we have like mental health week. No, I understand why we have mental health week, but really there should be mental health year. Like it should be every day, all day, every year. I'm a big advocate for mental health, but at the same time, don't group neurodivergence in with that, because mental health, as I said, also encompasses feeling good, feeling bad, feeling depressed and anxious, feeling down, feeling better, how you can improve yourself. You can have good mental health your whole life. You can have bad mental health your whole life. That doesn't mean you're neurodivergent. But at the same time, that still means your brain is normal. Sometimes your chemicals fall and rise, but you can still have them stable. As I said, my brain has a constant deficit of dopamine. Dopamine is that happy drug that you get from chocolate and certain drugs. So I'm constantly craving chocolate and certain drugs, like not literally, but you know what I'm trying to say. People with autism will never change. Their brain, they can get better, as in being more socially acceptable. Like it's all about us bending to neurotypical things, but like ways. But at the same time, we are who we are, and we will never change. This is us, okay? And it just really annoys me because there's no ups and downs. There's just us being us. Like there's different types of us. Obviously, every autistic person is different. Every person with ADHD is different. But at the same time, it's like it's not cookie cutter. So it just kind of annoys me how people will like scream out, yes, we're here for mental health, no, we advocate, no, mental health is so important, no, I've got headspace and I meditate every day, but you aren't championing the people who need you the most, okay? The neurodivergent people. We can't download headspace on our phone and get better. We can't have a cup of tea. We can't change our diet and drink some more water and get some more sunlight and feel better. I will always be the way that I am. I can only just manage my ways and cope a little better to suit your standards. I can't become the standards, you know? So why would we give books to you when you don't read? So this is something someone said to me a long time ago, and it actually made me weep for a good hour, I think. And then on several occasions when I think about it, and even when I'm thinking about it now, my eyes are getting hot. Like, you know, when you're about to cry and your eyes start to burn, yeah, I'm feeling it now. So basically, yeah, I was in a situation where giving books on Amazon, like gifting them on Prime, was like all the rage and everyone was doing it. And everyone around me was getting them and I was so excited for them. But then I never received one and I was like, okay, well, it's fine. No one owes me a book. No one owes me anything. So some person who'd already received several was like, oh, well, I haven't gotten one, no, by you. And I'm just like, bro, I haven't received any, so why are you complaining? And then another person said to me, why would we give you books when you don't even read? Now, for context, let's say my watch later list on YouTube is over 1,000 videos. My unread book count here, I own about 70 books. I've read probably 10 of them, okay? All of these books here, plus here, and several audiobooks on Scribd and Audible are my TBR and currently read books. Like I've got about 11 currently read books on my Goodreads right now, like currently reading. And so it's famous that I really don't read my books when I'm supposed to, and I feel my body reads and whatnot, but I'm the procrastinator, Files. What do you want from me? And it kind of really broke me when she said that, because the way she said, like, you don't even read, why would we give you books? And I was just like, it's not my fault. I'm here because I love stories and storytelling and actually owning books. Books are my decoration. They are my pride and joy. They're something I've invested in and love. People buy shoes and handbags and expensive gadgets and cars and houses. People have kids. People buy clothes. People collect pennies and stamps. I collect books. I love them. I treasure them. No matter if I've read them or not, they will always be mine. And just to say that to me was just really, really just, it made me sad, because I had explained to her before, like, well, you know, like I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD and I find it hard to read and it physically harms me. Like it makes me sick and dizzy and tired and I sweat and I feel scared. And just to say that to me felt so disrespectful, and that just shows to me that you can say you're neurodivergent to people, but they really don't understand, they don't take the time to research, and they don't care. And I was just like, So before you go around judging dyslexic people or people with ADHD in the bookish community, or people who read audiobooks, or people who read slow, people who don't take part in readathons and think they're a bit too much, or people who can't read as much, people who aren't fast readers, people who have terrible handwriting, people who don't annotate, maybe shut the fuck up first of all, and then second of all, think about maybe why. Do some research. If you're not sure, ask them. That would be a good idea. Don't be judgmental or condescending. You stupid cunt. How about that? So, well, so what is it like? Okay, so how would I rank myself since I'm in so many, as I mentioned before, I'm in so many different minority groups. So I would mainly say that the correct way to say it is Black, neurodivergent, queer woman. That is the grammatically correct way to describe myself. How I would rank myself, like if I had to rank it on top of in way of being like a minority, I'll be a Black, because being Black is the thing that people see first before they even see anything else. That is my defining minority status. Neurodivergent is the thing that people notice next after they talk to me for maybe about 15 minutes. They notice that I'm a bit quirky and a bit different to other people. And that's what is second most important to me. I'm Black, then I'm neurodivergent. Then being a woman, because that's also something that is a huge definer, like under being Black, being a woman is the next thing people notice about me in terms of being not a minority, but in terms of social rights minority status. And then who is queer? That is the least of my problems in terms, as I'm opinion, because as far as I care, that's what I'm trying to say. Because as far as I'm concerned, unless I'm sleeping with you, it's none of your business what's going on in my love life. So that's nothing that's really ever affected me. Like I knew what I was from when I was 3 years old. I've never had an issue with my sexuality, and I'm completely fine with that. So changes I would like to see. Let's end on a more positive note. I'd like to see more Black neurodivergent characters. I'd like to make that be a thing and not make them be like the reason everything gets fucked up. Like I just like to see them in general, because I feel like Black people never, there's a huge thing about being Black and having mental illness. Like you're not allowed to be Black with a mental illness. You have to be Black and strong. You have to be the best. You have to be the best of the best, because we're always taught as Black people that you need to be faster, stronger, smarter and better than your white counterparts to get far in life. So if you have a mental illness, that will hold you back, and that'll be a reason for them to tell you no and turn you down and give your white counterpart a job or an opportunity or a university place and whatnot. That's what you hear all the time. So I'd really like to break down those stigmas through some vulnerable but powerful and smart neurodivergent Black characters. But I'd like to see more neurodivergent characters in general, and I don't just mean ones with the typical, like, the white man with autism. We've seen that 100 times. I'm sick and tired of seeing the incorrectly portrayed white man with autism. Can we have, like, you know, someone with like actual OCD, someone with BPD, someone with ADHD and Tourette's that's not used for comedic effect, someone who has, basically oh my god, there are so many different disorders that you could have. But like, there's even one to do with your period. Like, did you know that? Did you know that there's a disorder where you have like literally the most painful periods of your life, and your monthly cycle doesn't just end after a week, it goes on for the month, as in the hormonal effects, and it ruins your life? Did you know? No. Should be put on TV? Yeah, it should be made aware of, you know, because many people have it and they don't even know. So I would like to see that anxiety isn't all. I'd like more people to think that anxiety isn't the beginning and end of, you know, mental health and neurodivergence. There's more to life and mental health and neurodivergence than anxiety. I would also like to see, by the way, I'm not knocking anxiety. I know it's important. I have anxiety, but I'm sick and tired of everyone just using that as an excuse to shut everyone down. You can't criticize me because I have anxiety. You can't tell me I'm wrong because I have anxiety. You can't not like me because I have anxiety. You can't dislike something I'm doing because I have anxiety. You cannot use it as a safety blanket for your life. And that's why people call us the snowflake generation, because you don't need to be abused, but no one has to coddle you. Nobody has to love you. Nobody has to respect you. And I'm sorry, that is the truth of it all. But no one needs to disrespect you and no one needs to hate you. Just some people just need to not care and just leave you alone. Also, neurodiversity isn't a trend. Don't adopt it for a month or because, you know, someone who you idolize is campaigning it for a week, so you're gonna campaign it for a week and not actually know what it is. Like, don't be like, oh yeah, autistic people, yeah, like, no, please, it's not a trend. Just normalize it and just treat us like people and, you know, respect us. I'd like to see more allies because there's like literally two. Stop denial of it, yes. Yeah, stop denial of neurodivergence. Stop saying that autism isn't real and ADHD or badly behaved kid and all of that. Also, stop working class denial. So it's like people think it's a privilege that only rich people can have to have ADHD or to have autism and Tourette's and OCD, and broke people can't have it because they, you know, you have too much work to do, too much stuff on your plate to be mentally ill. And also, the worst of all, stop black denial. I'm sick and tired of hearing that black people should not say that they have white people illnesses like ADHD. Like, wow, I love the fact that, you know, I need help and I'm asking you to help me. Is this like so abhorrent to you? And I love the fact that you also think only white people deserve help, because that's really showing what you're saying here. Like, you feel only white people deserve to be like have complex minds that work in a different way to ours, and we are all like-minded and same-minded. None of us have differences, because people don't actually see how ADHD brains literally found most of your companies and your innovations, and we make the world a better place because we think about things so outside of the box. Same with autistic people. I'm not saying the super powered autistic people that you see on TV like the Good Doctor or Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory. I'm talking about normal autistic people. Or that you don't see how, you know, people with other neurodivergent disorders affect the world, because, you know, you'll never know that. I literally have a list of people on my wall, on my vision board, who have changed the world due to the fact that they do have ADHD, such as Albert Einstein. But you never hear about those parts of the story, do you? No, you don't. You just say that they're a genius and that they was normal and you can be like them too. Well, no, you can't. They had ADHD. You can't be like them. You will never be like us because we are geniuses. We just need to stop being distracted and procrastinating and get to the genius part first. But yes, I also like to announce that I'm doing a neurodivergent readathon at some point when I start procrastinating, and it won't be like a normal readathon. It's literally going to be putting you in the shoes of different neurodivergent people. So it won't be like, oh, read this book or read a book with that many page numbers or read a book that's read. It will be more like read a book with 10-minute increments. So you read for 10 minutes and stop. And then if you want to read it again, you read for only 10 minutes and then stop to like simulate distractibility, or read a book in a format you'd never really read in to simulate someone who can only read in a certain format. And it will have different teams with different neurodivergence. So we've got like OCD, we have autism, we have an ally section that will teach you how to be a better ally. We also have ADHD and whatnot. There's a really good mix going on there. So you have dyslexia. So yeah, that readathon's gonna be pretty fun. It was supposed to be in August, but I literally didn't say it up or announce it. So maybe December, we'll see. You tell me if you got to this far. If you got this far, like literally comment hi. Yeah. Yeah. I doubt you did, but thank you for listening if you did. And I'm gonna sign out now because I'm super tired. But yeah, isn't my hairstyle cute today? I feel like really cute. My headband is like slipped off of my head and it's kind of surrounding my ponytail, but I feel cute. But anyway, that is Fizzy at the Procrastinator Files signing out from my first real life discussion. And I'm not gonna do that. Bye.